Hey Max, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Bonnie?
I'm great, thank you. Well, listen, I had the opportunity to see this at TIFF in 2019, so it was great to revisit it, and I missed a lot. You know what I mean? Like when during TIFF you see so many films, so it was great to have the opportunity to watch it again. And I was also at the Q&A when you guys were here in Toronto,
Mm.
back in the day when you could travel, of course, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I learned a lot. And I wanted to know from you, Max, what was it about this story? Like, where did it come from, and why did you want to explore these brothers?
I don't know. I always loved. It's a love story, at its core, and I grew up sort of really loving, kind of like movies about like people that kind of don't know how to tell the other one how much they love them and kind of keep their own stuff, kind of their own kind of character defects, keep getting in the way of it, and
Mm-hmm.
I loved Of Mice and Men. I loved John Steinbeck books, and that story in particular about these two people who are kind of, their home is on the road, but they keep on trying to find a place where they can feel a sense of peace. Like that idea, into how what a modern retelling of that would be like with these two guys,
Right.
um, was something that was really interesting to me.
Yeah, and then you get these two fantastic actors,
Yeah.
Charlie and Jack, who I've had the pleasure of interviewing both of these guys, especially Jack when he started. I think I was like one of his very first interviews when he came to town years ago. And oh my God, they're so good. But what I loved about them is that you truly believe that they're brothers. Did they hit it off immediately?
Immediately. I mean, all three of our lead actors are all from, the north of England.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
really specific type of place, and I think they relate to that idea of sort of displacement, of never knowing where their home is because so much of their work happens in America. And between Jessica, Charlie, and Jack, the three of them were kind of thick as thieves immediately. And there was we didn't have time for prep. Charlie had come from Australia, Jack had come from England,
Mm-hmm.
Jess had come from Canada. They'd all been shooting other things. And so they really just figured it out when we were shooting the scenes. I mean, we cooked dinners together, and we a lot of the early conversations between Charlie and Jack and myself were happening while those boys were training. And Charlie was working the focus mitts for Jack, who did all of his own stunts in the movie and boxed,
Amazing.
and they got into sync really quickly.
Yeah, and let's talk about the boxing scenes, because it's not just boxing, it's bare knuckle. I
Yeah.
mean, wow, I get shivers just thinking about some of those scenes. Tell me a little bit about what it was like to shoot that stuff, and were you ever worried that someone was going to get hurt?
Yeah, I mean, in when you're filming boxing scenes, you have the luxury of if someone misses, you're still having a boxing glove hit someone in the face and not a bare knuckle. And we didn't
Right.
have that experience. And you need I mean, Jack is like the way in which Jack did all of his own stunts. There's never a double for any of that stuff. He's an incredible boxer, and
Yeah.
he trained with a guy named Ed Lavash, who was our boxing coach, and all of the fights were coordinated by a guy named Paul Marini, who was our stunt coordinator. And the three of them were in so much. They were in sync together the entire time, and the way Jack moves his body. I mean, it's like ballet almost. I mean, every single moment has been worked out and coordinated within a quarter of an inch. And he's fighting. Oftentimes, a lot of those guys are real professional boxers who were working out in the Northeast, who we loved. And the idea was to be able to make these scenes feel as realistic as possible while also giving us a sense of geography. And it wasn't just type of fight sequences you figure out in editing through, tight cuts of not knowing who is which and where. And so to do that, we wanted to really be able to see these in wide shots and let these fights play out as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that's all a testament to Jack's incredible work ethic and performance in the movie, and the people we had as support surrounding him, like Ed Labosh and Paul Marini.
It's quite amazing. Also in this film is the extraordinary Jonathan Majors,
Amazing, yeah.
who has pretty much exploded since this film was released. My goodness. I
We
mean,
all knew it was going to happen.
oh God.
He's on set. He came in the middle of the shoot, and everybody knew that we were lucky to have him in a supporting role for the time we had, because he's just the energy level that he operates at, and the attention to detail that he brings to his character, and the work that he does before he even gets to set. Everybody felt like they just kind of had a front seat to seeing like a movie star be born.
Have you seen Lovecraft Country? Have you watched
he's incredible. I text him from bed while I watch it on Sunday nights, just ask him what's happening, and everything. He's incapable of being false. He's incapable of being anything other than excellent. I think from Last Black Man in San Francisco to Lovecraft to The Five Bloods. I think everything he's incredible in. Yeah, he's really amazing. It's great to watch him grow. Watch all these actors grow, because and Jessica too. Like she's extraordinary. I think I first discovered her when I watched the Netflix series End of the Effing World, and then I see what she's done since. Like working with a talent like that must have been a treat. Jessica is interesting because I saw Hannah in the theaters, and it's one of those supporting performances that she plays in Hannah where you watch it and it's like, to me, I attribute it to like when I watched Philip Seymour Hoffman in Son of a Woman or something. Like you see someone in a small part and they eat up everyone around them, and in your head you're just like, oh, this person is going to be one of our great. She has something to say, you know, she just is in her own universe as far as her talents go. And that performance had stuck with me for so long in my head. I was in a theater and I was like, I need to work with this person at some point. And then obviously by the time we started casting Jungleland, the end of the world was, you know, had already become the sensation that it had become. And there was no choice when we got to casting. Myself and the filmmakers including the actors who were all starstruck by her. You know, everybody who meets her is kind of starstruck by her wit and her sense of humor, and just the way she talks is unlike anyone else. And we knew we had to have her. She's a sweetheart. I have to, before we wrap, I got to mention your amazing dad, who just turned 75. I mean, just an extraordinary man. And I was lucky enough about a year or so ago, he came to Toronto and spoke at the synagogue around the corner from us. And oh my God, it was such a great show. But I have to ask you, Max, because watching your dad in Barry, first of all, must be a treat. But second of all, do you think that you would ever go and direct an episode of that show? It's so good. I love it. And I love what the show's done for my dad, in the sense I always knew my dad could play those parts. Yeah. And we watched my dad on set get his first Emmy, and we had it streaming on my computer, and we shut down the set for that category, and we all watched when he got it. Amazing. And I'm actually a little choked up because it was so emotional. I'm sure. We were so everyone applauded and cheered, and it was like this amazing moment. I was so proud of him. And then he made this joke at the end of the speech, which didn't feel like a joke to me, where he basically said, kids, you can go to sleep now. And it made me feel, it sort of lowered my cred on the film set a little bit. But it was like a really beautiful moment to have. And I helped him. My dad auditioned for that show twice. Wow. A lot of people like him wouldn't have auditioned, and I helped him with both of his auditions. And it's not a coincidence that he got that part, and how excellent he is in that. So I'm just. So would you direct it? Do you think you would do it? I would. I don't know. I love that show, and I think Bill does a really good job, and I would be thrilled to. I'd be thrilled to do it. Well, listen, thank you for this interview, and thank you for this film. I just can't wait to see what you give us next, and hopefully we can all get back on set soon and get back to work. But just a pleasure, and best of luck with everything, Max. Lovely talking to you today. Thank you. You too. It was really nice to talk to you. Take care. Bye-bye.